Welcome, Cassidy.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
Cassidy is going to be one of 53 authors that will be at the Festival of Books and Creativity at the end of June in Novi, Michigan. Cassidy, you write fantasy.
I do.
Awesome. And you currently have 3 books out with number 4 on the way. Tell us about your books.
So this is my first series that I've ever published. The first book is The Saltwater Heir.
Oh,
It is about a soldier who discovers that the kingdom that she has been fighting a war against, she discovers that she is actually the lost heir of the kingdom that she has been fighting a war against for a long time.
ooh.
So it's a little bit of like an enemies to family, like lost princess trope, all kinds of stuff. I usually pitch it as like Shadow and Bone meets Tangled. So,
Awesome. So, what is book 2?
so book two is called The Phoenix Priest. There's not a lot I can say without spoiling a ton.
Okay.
But it's set in a more oh my goodness, how would I describe it? Like kind of a if you were like an Aragon reader growing up, you're gonna like
Mhm.
Phoenix Priest a lot because there's some settings and things in there that made like my inner Aragon nerd came out. And I want to do stuff with dragons and yeah, so that's the
Ooh, dragons are always a good thing.
yes, they are.
So then book 3 is
Book three is The Goddess Eye. So
Mhm.
they're all like sequential. So The Saltwater Heir is book one, Phoenix Priest is book two, Goddess Eye is book three. And then the cover reveal actually just happened for my fourth book, which is called The Crownless Queen.
Ooh.
So The Goddess Eye is also a little bit like it's got some piratey vibes, a little bit of
Ooh.
Sinbad type of stuff. And I know it sounds a little bit like these are all very different, but I promise they connect. Hmm.
They'll just have to buy all 4 to see how they connect. So what got you writing fantasy?
So I actually started out when I first was playing around with like writing and trying stuff out. I started out kind of in that dystopian era because that's what I was reading a lot of. So I was like, oh, I want to try this. So
Mhm.
I started in dystopian, moved into actually sci-fi, sort of like kind of branched off
Ooh.
in there, and that's
Mhm.
hovered in there for a little bit. But kind of following like my different reading tastes, I was reading a lot of fantasy,
Mm.
and I never really tried my hand at it, but I was like, I kind of want to see what I can do with it. And it ended up being the first book that I published. So, yeah, The Saltwater Air was actually my first foray into fantasy, and I just like really fell in love with it. Um,
Mhm.
Mainly, I fell in love with the fact that it wasn't a time travel book, so I didn't have to do a ton of research. You would be like the things I had to Google for this sci-fi book were wild. Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah, I fell in love with the fantasy genre and like getting to write the kind of stories that I loved living in. Um,
Mhm.
or not living, you know what I mean, like reading
Mhm.
and like, but yeah, I had a good time with it, and I've definitely like fantasy's been kind of my main love ever since.
Awesome. So you've dabbled in sci-fi and you actually published in fantasy. Are there any other genres that you may write in the future?
um Not I'm not sure. I don't ever
Okay.
wanna say never. Um,
Okay.
I I think it's more likely to be, like, offshoots of different things, like, I've been really wanting to try playing with cozy fantasy,
Mm,
um,
okay.
like, lower stakes stuff,
Mhm.
but, I haven't gotten a chance to yet, so hopefully I'll get a chance to play around with that genre at some point.
So you've got number 4 in the series that's coming out in May, which is
Yes.
awesome because then will be on the table for June.
Yeah.
Any more books in that series?
Yes, there will be two more. The
Okay.
fifth one comes out in December.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. The the story behind how those ended up being that close is yeah, but yeah, so the fifth one comes out in December. And then hopefully the final book will be coming out sometime next June. So not
Oh, okay.
the next one.
So one roughly every 6 months ish.
Yes.
Nice.
If I'm lucky, if I work really hard. But so far everything's set up to work out that way. So that's my hope. That's my goal.
So do you have a day job? A 9 to 5 type job?
So not really a 9 to 5, but I do. I work part-time as a copywriter and project manager for a podcast management company.
Ooh.
And I do that job from home. But
Mhm.
I also work as a barista at a local coffee shop.
Ooh.
And that gets me out of the house and away from my computer for a little bit. So yeah, I do both of those things, and then I fit writing in wherever it fits.
Well, the nice thing about working at a coffee shop is you could actually stay and write
Yes.
afterwards then.
Yes, and I actually love doing that. It helps me focus a lot, I think, and the
Mm.
caffeine doesn't hurt.
Yeah, yeah,
So
the constant flow of caffeine, it's easier, just put the IV in and
so weird how that works. Like, I don't know. I just feel so much more productive here.
So when you write, do you have an outline or do you pants it?
So I in my heart, I'm a pantser. Like that's what
Mhm.
I love doing when I draft. But as the series has gone on, I've had to do more and more outlining just to keep track of things and like make sure I'm not losing like important stuff that has to happen, and mostly making sure the books don't get too long. Because when I pants, I tend to like go off in other directions, and I'm like, wait, I have to come back. So the first one was very much pantsed. Like I don't think I had
Okay,
anything outlined. Second one was probably about halfway outlined, and then from there it's been like full outlines
okay.
just to keep myself on track. but but my favorite way to do it is pantsing because I find I get surprised more that way.
Mm. And do you write the outlines before you write the books, or do you, like, pants it and then go back in and do an outline?
I'll usually outline beforehand
Oh,
or
okay.
as I'm going, like I'll do one chunk and then I'll outline the next bit and then kind of like shining the flashlight on like just the next part.
Oh, okay.
um, sometimes, but I try to get the whole thing down if I can.
Awesome. So I'm I'm looking at your bio and you say you're a Hallmark movie expert.
Yeah, I watch a lot of Hallmark movies. My
Mhm.
family, my family is like really big on Christmas. We do like
Ah.
that's our time. So we watch a lot of different Hallmark movies. It's gotten to the point where we can like call what's going to happen next.
Mhm.
So the good ones are the ones that surprise us.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, and then my critique partner and I also will get together and watch Hallmark movies when we get together to write sometimes because
Mhm.
we like to either find the really well written ones or we like to laugh at the really badly written ones. And it makes us feel better about what we're doing. So
This is true. So
yes.
do you which area of Hallmark do you like? Do you like the rom-coms? Do you like the dramas? Or are you more the mystery?
I'm
Or
pretty solidly in the rom-coms.
okay.
I've seen a few of the more dramatic ones where
Mhm.
I get really hooked and I'm like, oh, actually, like, hang on, I need to know what happens. But for the most part, definitely like in that rom com thing of like, oh, they're in Christmas Town, wherever, and
Mhm.
and magic is real and they have to figure something. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun to see how people take the same tropes and kind of twist them around a little bit.
Have you ever thought of writing your own rom-com where, maybe based off of one of their didn't go so well, and then you're like, "Hey, I can write that better."
Well, my my mom is always like, "You could write this. You could do this." Like, screenwriting's a very different animal. But that's part of why I want to. I'd like to explore some cozy fantasy, like sticking
Mhm,
with the fantasy genre, but getting to explore some of those like funnier
mhm.
aspects where like you don't really take it too seriously. You get to play with the tropes a little more. I've read a few different books like that, and I've really found that I enjoy them. Especially like as far as trying to find some areas of escapism. I've found that like the lighter stuff has been a lot of fun lately. So,
So, what has been your favorite fantasy movie and book?
so I would say as far as movies, I mean Tangled is my go, like I don't know if that counts as fantasy so much, but Tangled's kind of my go-to with that
Mhm,
where I always have been like a lost princess kid, so like Anastasia, Rapunzel, like all of that.
mhm.
So I kind of gravitate towards those kind of stories. I really liked A Knight's Tale, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Um, that one was pretty good. Um, now I remember what it was. Inkheart. Uh,
Mm.
right. I was like, there's a Brendan Fraser movie that I really like. My absolute favorite, like fantasy ones. Probably because it also goes a little bit hand in hand with my favorite fantasy book, which is A Story Spun in Scarlet by Renee.
Mhm.
I almost said her Instagram handle, Renee Dugan Writing. Um, Renee Dugan. She wrote A Story Spun in Scarlet, which is about a land where storytellers can kind of manifest different things by telling stories. And
Ooh.
the magic system is very much based in verbal storytelling.
Mhm.
But all at once, all throughout the kingdom, the stories lose their endings, and none of the storytellers can finish their stories and actually use their magic. And so one of the story crafters, as they're called, has to go on a little bit of a quest to try and find out why no one can end their stories, and basically why the whole country has been struck with a writer's block.
Oh, no.
I relate to this a little too hard. um, but it's so wonderful. It's so funny and just really heartfelt. And the magic system's very unique and amazing. So I have a great time reading it. I've got the first line tattooed. So
Oh, wow. Now that is dedication.
yes, it was like every time I tell someone about it, I'm like, look, this is how much I love this book. Just get it.
Yes. Now, is she a traditionally published author or an indie author?
So she's a fellow indie author. She's actually one of my very good friends. We I've read a ton of her books. They're all amazing. But A Story Spun in Scarlet just like gripped me and wouldn't let go. And
Mhm.
I was like, ugh, it's so good. And I talk about it. We'll do events together sometimes, and I end up talking about her books more than mine. And I'm like, we gotta start not sharing tables actually, because I get too excited. Um,
Well, that's good that you're getting excited about another indie author because that's what this community is all about with the indie authors, that we're more of a community, we're comrades, not competitors,
mm-mm.
because the more books that are sold is just awesome.
Yes.
You know, we're going to have 53 authors, we're going to have 46 genres and 280 titles.
That's wild. Oh my
It's
goodness.
insane.
Yeah. When you say
And so
53 authors, I hear one thing, and then you said 283 titles, and I was like,
wait a
"That's
minute.
a lot." We've done a
We
lot of
well, and the nice thing is that means that a lot of our authors have published more than one title.
Mhm.
We do have a few that have only published one, but I mean, a lot of our authors have published multiple, and that means that people have to bring a wagon to
Yes.
carry all of their items. Wagons are
True.
strongly encouraged because if you're going to get 280 titles, you know.
Gotta have something to haul them. Or
So,
bring someone to carry them, but, you know.
yeah, bring a backpack, bring a wagon, bring a friend.
Bring a friend or 10.
Yeah, we're fine. 'Cause, yeah, the great thing is that we are gonna be located right in the middle of an outdoor shopping area, and for those that haven't been to 12 Mile Crossing yet,
Mhm.
it's right in the middle. There's all kinds of places to visit. There's food, there's movies, and we're bringing books.
All you need.
Well, I am looking forward to seeing you in person at the end of June.
Me too, I'm so excited. It's not that far from me, so it's nice to get to stay in my neck of the woods for it, and I'm really excited to get to meet all of these 53 authors. Well, 2, I guess. But maybe I'll find myself out there too. But yeah, I'm so excited about it.
Well, I will see you in June. Thank you for taking this time out of your day.
Of course, thank you for having me.